this is getting interesting as Wike, the FCT minister, is in early panic as he expressed disappointment or frustration over the action taken by Omo Sowore by petitioning the Attorney General of Florida in United States of America, alleging that Wike, the FCT minister, bought about 3 properties in United States of America with laundered public funds. In reaction to this, Wike have expressed disappointment and from his body language and expression, it means that Wike has certain revelations to make or perhaps certain questions to answer. Asking during the interaction with Channels Television, he was asked, but are you not aware that your family bought that in their name? He said, what is my business? How could a man be denying the reality that he has no business with whatever his children or wife might be involved in?
Not correct. That's a show what else look, it's not correct. When they pay bribe to people like Sowore, let anybody show me where I bought a house. What, how many millions?
That's an awful lot of property there.
It's not property.
It's
It's not correct. That's a show what else look, it's not correct. Why they put this, this house?
But is the house not in the name of your wife and children?
What is my business?
You don't know what your wife and children own?
I never bought any house. Any house.
$1 million worth of property.
It's not when I take a decision to do something. In order to divert attention, you go and say, oh, yes, I will get it.
It's another, of course, eye-opening, and this is another reason for suspecting Wike's statement. And the petition written by Sowore, it is quite interesting. Possibly Sowore may have gathered more vital information and documents to back up his claims. When he was asked by the anchor of that interview, are you not bothered that this runs into millions of dollars? He said, what is his business? And when he tried to do something, what exactly is he trying to do? That he would deny the reality. How much is his salary and that of his wife residing in United States of America, and that of his children, that they could allegedly procure 3 houses, 3 facilities in the Florida state, has been petitioned or alleged by Sowore, which means there is more deeper revelations to be made, if I'm not mistaken, based on Sowore's petition that such money belongs to the public funds laundered allegedly by Wike, the FCT, the current FCT minister. It is quite interesting. As a family man, you should be aware and conversant with any operations, with any activities involving your family, possibly as the father of the house. You should have been briefed if there is any such undertakings. Coming to tell the world what is your business leaves, of course, a moral burden on the personality of Wike. Does it mean that Wike is not in charge of his family? Or would there be any early panic or possibly trying to cover up for whatever we might not know? But we're concerned by this development and early panic over what he claimed was false, that Sowore has been bribed to do what? has been bribed to investigate the alleged acquisition of properties running into several millions of dollars. Or bribed by who? For what purpose? For what reason? Perhaps somebody have considered that such laundered fund allegedly could have been utilized for the common good of Nigerians rather than being squandered in a foreign land in the name of procuring properties and whatever be the case. Well, it's an interesting moment, honestly, and it's a time to watch the drama unfold. Possibly the Attorney General of Florida might be setting up an inquest, a panel of inquiry to review such petition after he may have studied that and the implications of what the law stipulates regarding such uh, illegal acquisition, uh, especially when it is being suspected to be a laundered public funds from a public office holder, a politician in that matter. Well, we don't know yet how the pendulum will swing in this matter, but Wike have expressed early panic by accusing uh, Sowore to have collected monetary inducement or bribe to spoil his reputation or to discredit his personality. Well, it is left for Wike again to provide evidence of such claim that Sowore has been bribed or has taken bribe or has been paid by any person concerned. It is another, of course, mother burden on him. But I strongly believe that Sowore may be doing that based on his personal convictions and interests, of course, to fight what he considers as an administration that is criminally minded, as he described, unfortunately, the president as a criminal. But that has stirred so much controversy for and against such positions as the DSS have written to the CEO of X Space, formerly known as Twitter and Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, demanding that they bring down the handle, the social handle of Omowole Sowore, which eventually Omowole Sowore have instituted, of course, the legal suit against X and Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, for attempting uh, to pull down his social handle, what he considered as a breach of his fundamental rights of expression and freedom, of course, protected under the law or under the free speech bill or law. It is quite an interesting development as this continues to unfold towards the build-up of the general election in 2027, which is barely less than 2 years from now. There have been renewed bickering, bitterness, anger, politics of propaganda, bitterness, and the rest of them are trying to possibly dislodge the opponent or gain advantage over uh, other opponents. You begin to ask, what exactly uh, would the election eventually become? What could be the outcome of this election if earlier enough we've been seeing all this? But the action of Sowore is not out of place. Yes, you have the right to suspect anyone, especially if public office holder. And if you're not comfortable with such informations at your disposal, especially if it contravenes the ethics and of public office holders, uh, and at the detriment of the citizens and humanity, you have the right in a sane society to petition such actions in order to serve as a deterrent, of course, to others who might have similar intentions or who might be indulging in such similar acts. I'm not minding the consequences it might or the burden it might leave on the safety, well-being, and security of the population, the masses, unfortunately, has become the victims when resources, the public resources, have been plundered or laundered by those in the place of authority. Then who suffers it most? It's the people. Resources that would have been channeled towards providing more social security, more health facilities, and as much as that will enhance and better the lot of Nigerians. Nigerians are in deficit of doctors, medical personnel, because of the poor remuneration and poor working conditions. Majority of them are leaving the shores, fleeing, not just leaving the shores of Nigeria. We begin to ask, how long will this continue? Now, the ratio to doctor to patient in Nigeria today is one doctor to 10,000 patients. You understand what that means? Sometimes people who get to hospital without being attended to, it is as bad as that. In fact, if I may not use the word worst, as we could envisage, that is a very worrisome development. And what does that portend? More people are dying because of the poor healthcare system. People's ailments could not be adequately attended to promptly and accurately because of the pressure, because of the demand on the medical personnel. But all these resources would have been channeled towards bettering the lot of the masses. How come it ends up in the private pockets of individuals who careless, who by virtue of their positions were trusted with the resources of the masses to dispense justice and distribute this evenly or channel them towards uh, building an egalitarian society, a society where everybody could access medical care, perhaps for the very reason that they don't even use the facilities, the medical facilities within the Nigerian states upon any, of course, egg or minor medical issues. You see them jetting out of the country for medical vacations, for medical checkups, and the rest of them, something they would have naturally done if they have confidence in the same system that have given them enormous privileges and do advantage over the people, but they use the resources of the common masses, the taxpayers' money, of course, to live such ostentatious and luxury lives at the expense of the people. This is a very interesting development and a welcome one because if eventually established that Wike uh, laundered money for such events or procurement of such facility using either his family, members of direct family, then the law might possibly catch up with him possibly this could be the reason why he is expressing some panic or early denial of the reality. But uh, everyone, including Wike, should be reminded that Florida is not Nigeria. It's not Cross River. I mean, it's not River State, where some politicians might have monopoly of the legal process or system and might eventually manipulate the outcome of such litigations. But hopefully, I believe that Sowore will monitor the outcome, the process of this investigation, and if possible, might provide more documents to back up his claim or proof over the alleged uh, procurement of these three properties running into several millions of dollars. I was perturbed, very worried over the statement of Wike. One should have expected Wike to put up very intelligent defense and arguments out there so that his audience could listen and possibly uh, see reason to agree with him that he's innocent, but not innocent by name, but possibly by conviction as a matter of time will reveal. But sadly, I was greatly disappointed by him ending up as usual. Of course, not just a surprise to me that he first accusing Sowore to have been induced or bribed to do the dirty job. Well, if you have nothing to be afraid of, if you're innocent and you are not guilty, or perhaps your conscience is not pricking you, there is nothing to be afraid whether it's bribed or not. What should be of primary importance to you is to present your case logically, but the public or his audience may have reasons, of course, to suspect his innocency as a matter of fact. Because I personally should have expected Wicked to present and put up a very logical and defensive, of course, uh, presentation. This is before the public. The world is watching as Wicked is making this. That when he's trying to do something, what exactly, in fact, his words are not well articulated and coordinated. By my own opinion or his analysis, it is quite very disturbing, which eventually the anchor observes that and was putting up such words to him. You mean that you are not interested, you don't care to know whatever. It is not your business to know the properties acquired in the name of your family members. So, what is my business? You can imagine your business issues involving the family that might possibly, if confirmed or proven to be true, might dent the image of your family. What is my business about that? Well, definitely, it is a very disturbing development, honestly. And asking people to present or tender evidence of such claims, well, it could be an expression of early panic or whatever. Well, I wouldn't have expected him to do that. He should have possibly uh, asked the Attorney General of Florida to review the petition and eventually set up a panel of inquiry, an inquest, and in the interest of fairness, justice, yes, and public knowledge, let it be brought to the public. Let the Attorney General investigate such allegation and determine his innocency. I expected that should have been his response, and that should have been the most way to present his argument rather than accusing Sowore and the rest of them. So such is not far from what you should expect from an average Nigerian politician who believe that everything could be manipulated or truncated, and you cannot continue to deceive the people. I expected, well, as a good citizen of Nigeria, Sowore has done what any other person should have commended, but Wike, it is quite understandable. So we are to wait, pending on the review of such a petition and investigation. So to ascertain what exactly might become the fate of Wike, as if being established under the United States law, such person risk 30 years jail. Could it be said that Wike might be embarking on 30 years jail term if eventually he is caught culpable or linked to that property? That will be defined by time, and if eventually he is innocent, well, of course, that will also be defined in the course of time. But what is important is there should be transparency in the public office, of course, operations, and sanity must be entrenched in all the processes of allocations, movement of money, and procurement act and the rest of them, to curtail the excesses or the abuse of the public office holders in Nigeria as corruption continue to expand and grow more robust in the system. So it is a wake-up call for every other politicians who might be possibly uh, been reckless with the public resources at his or her disposal. We do hope and anticipate that the Attorney General of Florida will attend to this case without fear or favor, or possibly deep more to expose any fraud or alleged link with this.